Aloha and welcome back to Live at the Legislature for our Senate Majority segment. I'm the Senate Communications Director, Jesse Broder Van Dyke, and this week, continuing our Mililani area theme of today's show, we have Senate Vice President Michelle Kidani. Thanks so much for fighting traffic to be here with us this morning.
Thank you. Aloha kakahiaka.
Aloha. As chair of the Education Committee, you're advancing a measure right now to increase teacher pay. How's that going to help our teachers, and why is that important right now?
Well, Senate Bill 2488 is extremely important to me and my colleagues because we all know that teachers do not get paid as much as they should be. We have already passed it out of our Senate Education Committee, and the gist of the bill is that we are appropriating $25 million in this next year's budget, and it can be used in three ways. The $25 million can be used to continue the appropriation that is happening now to raise the salaries of teachers that are in the special education field or Hawaiian immersion or the hard-to-fill geographic locations. Or it can be used to address the compression or the steps that our veteran teachers need to, increase the level of pay that they have not been able to get because the steps, they have met the highest steps already, or a combination of the two. And I'll say that however it's used, it has to be agreed upon with a memorandum of agreement between not only the DOE but the teachers union, HSTA.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of people will be following that measure as it moves forward. And also in your Education Committee this year, you've been working on part of the joint package that the Senate, House, and Governor introduced together this year. One of the components is to create a facilities agency to help with school construction. Where does that stand?
Correct. So we also passed this bill out of the Senate Education Committee. This is Senate Bill 3031, and what this bill does is to create a separate schools facility agency. So we are taking this agency out of the Department of Education, and it will be tasked to do all new school buildings, major renovations, and hopefully that we can address the needs that we have had for many years. The Senate and the House passed something called Act 155 about 7 years ago. And that bill was designed to make use of underutilized or vacant DOE school lands. And to date, we have not been able to accomplish any of that. I know last year, the DOE finally was able to name a few sites or schools that something like Act 155 could be used for. And Act 155 really is a game changer, because you would redevelop the land and either include 21st century schools on the land with some kind of retail or housing or office space, whatever. And the gist is to use the lease that we get, that the DOE would receive from this, to generate revenues needed for all major renovations that would have and should be happening in our schools, our 271 public schools, which are, mostly over 50, 60 years old. And such facilities need upgrading to make sure that we can give our students and our teachers the very best that we have to offer to continue better education of our students in the state of Hawaii.
And why has it been so difficult for DOE to implement this act, and how would creating a separate facilities agency help move the process forward?
I think by the DOE's own words and presentations that they've made to groups like HIPAA or Hawaii Ecumenical Council, etc., that they are educators and not builders. And I see the struggle that they have, because with 271 schools, we are a very, very large state school system, and actually the only system in the whole United States where the state runs all the school systems, and we don't get financial support from the city or any of those. We have also looked at other ways to help, like we passed a bill a couple years ago that would give the DOE title to all of the property under school lands that was owned by the city and county of Honolulu. We also proposed bills and passed bills that would extend the amount of years that we could do leasing for up to 99 years now. It would make it easier for developers and financiers to want to lease our school properties and have the lease rents and retail funds go back into the DOE.
Okay. And part of the goal in doing this is to create 21st century schools. What exactly is that?
21st century schools basically is enable teachers and the students to take advantage of all the technology we have, whether we have computers, labs, etc. in our schools. One of the things that you'll hear teachers and administrators say is that the schools can't even support the air conditioning window units because of the lack of upgraded energy. So some of those things have to be done before we can continue to add computers and other things that we need, the technology of today, to give the students the best possible technology and curriculum that has been developed, but we're not able to take advantage of because we don't have the space, nor do we have the facilities and the upgraded electrical conduits that we need.
And in your district, or near your district, a number of your constituents' children go to Mililani Middle School, which was on a 2-track system, but you're building an expansion right now with a grant that the legislature provided?
Actually, it's a 4-track system,
Okay.
so it's like 4 different middle schools on one campus.
Okay.
And yes, so we finally were able to get the shovels in the ground last month, and by school year 21-22, we will be a single-track middle school. And I think parents and students have been looking towards this for a long time. Senator De La Cruz, who also represents the Mililani area, and I have been working with the city. Part of it was to get part of the city parkland to expand the new building, the 2-story building that we needed to make this happen. And Principal Chung has been very patient with all of us, and we look forward to that opening.
Great. Well, sounds like a big improvement for all the students out there. We only have about 30 seconds left, but Education Week is coming up at the legislature. Can you tell us quickly what's coming up?
Yes. So in March, we have Education Week, which we have done for years with the House and Senate. And basically, it's to honor and the high school principals, et cetera, our students who have excelled in different things, whether it's sports or curriculum. And we just look forward to that because this is a way to showcase what Hawaii's students and principals and other administrators have done for us.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you so much for being here with us this week. Vice President Michelle Kidani, thanks, and we'll see you again next week on Live at the Legislature.
Aloha.
Aloha.
What are you doing? We have to go. I'm gonna be late for work.
It's Tuesday morning. I gotta record live at the legislature on Alelo. Senate and House leadership discussing what's happening at the state capitol.
So just watch it on the news tonight. Come on, let's go.
Hey, this is like getting the news before it's news. If only I could get this remote to work.
There. Can we go now?
No DVR? No problem. Watch Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. on Channel 49.